Welcome back. We're on to question 2 of 5 of the third set of hard GCSE questions. I've chosen a coordinate geometry question today. I know these aren't popular, which is why I've chosen it. It was at the end of a paper, I think on an IGCSE paper. Anyway, you know the drill. Pause the video, have a go. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so how did we do? There's a lot to this question. On the face of it, it is a fairly straightforward perpendicular bisector question, but the setup is really important here. So let's go through step by step. So first of all, it tells me that I have a straight line with the equation y minus 2x equals 7. So straight off the bat, it's being an awkward question because it's not giving us in the form that we usually know, but it's not difficult to switch this one around. So I've got an equation y equals 2x plus 7. And then it tells me that it's a perpendicular bisector of two particular points, A and B. Now, the whole key to this question is knowing what perpendicular and bisector mean, because otherwise the question is almost impenetrable. So perpendicular means it is at a gradient, which is at a normal to or a right angle to, or many of you know as a negative reciprocal. And the second part means that AB is cut in the middle by the line y minus 2x equals 7. And then just to make the question extra difficult, the coordinates of A and B are both given in algebra form, and I need to somehow resolve that algebra for J and K. The question itself wants me to find out the midpoints of A and B. Okay, that's okay so far. And then the sentence you need to be really careful to look out for: show clear algebraic working. Some questions are marked right answer, full marks. Some questions, such as this one, you get the correct answer, 0 marks, unless I can see you've got there in the right way. I very specifically need to see the method marks for me to give you the final marks at the end. Okay, let's continue with some calculations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick plot. Now, my plot's going to look something like this. And you'll notice what I haven't done is I haven't spent any time whatsoever trying to accurately map the line y equals 2x plus 7. All I need to do is have a quick representation. So in my head, I know broadly what I'm trying to work out and what I'm trying to look at. So I can see I've got the line y equals 2x plus 7. And I've got the points A and B, which may or may not be in a horizontal line. It doesn't matter. It just allows me to think about where they are. And then I've got the midpoint, which is a perpendicular bisector, which I've labeled M. Well, what do I know straight away? Well, I know from the line y equals 2x plus 7, I know the gradient of that line is 2, which means I also know the gradient of AB must be the negative reciprocal of that, which is going to be minus a half. So that's two pieces of information I know straight away. I'm going to put that on my graph just so I know exactly where they are, and then I've got myself set up. Next thing I know, although it's algebraic, I also know the coordinates of point M, which is a midpoint of A and B. And the way I work that out is I add together the x coordinates and divide by 2. I add together the y coordinates and divide by 2. And that's going to tell me that M is equal to this over here. So j plus 6 over 2 and 7 plus k over 2. So far, so good. But I've got nothing that helps me get any further. So now I need to start thinking about how I can relate the coordinates of A and B to the points that I know. Well, the first thing I know is I know the gradient of A to B is minus a half, because I got that from the negative reciprocal. So therefore, I can set up an equation whereby the change in A to B, in other words, k minus 7 over 6 minus j, as I've written down here, well, I know that is equal to minus a half. That's my gradient equation, rise over run, changing y over changing x. And I can cross multiply, a term I don't particularly like, but it's the easiest way of explaining it. And that will tell me that this function here falls out to be as it is on the screen. Collect terms and rearrange, and I've got my first relationship between j and k. I have one equation and I have two unknowns. I need another one. And this is where most people are going to get stuck, because where does the other equation come from? Well, where it comes from is I know that the point M sits both on the line AB and also on the line y equals 2x plus 7, which means it must be the case that if I have the equation y equals 2x plus 7 and I put the M x value and I put the my value in, those two must resolve that equation. So if I write it out, it's a bit easier to see what I'm doing. So therefore y, 7 plus k over 2, must equal 2 times the x value plus 7, multiply everything by 2, move everything across and collect terms accordingly, and I get my second equation, which is 2j minus k equals minus 19. Crucially, I have two equations and two unknowns, so this has now just become a simultaneous equation question. So let's clear the page up. Let's just get these equations together. So I've got these two equations here as discussed. Now, If you have a calculator such as a class whiz, where you can check your answers, but what you can't do is just write the answers down. You must show algebraic working to explain how you resolve these equations. So I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 2, and that's going to give me these two equations here. So j minus 2k equals minus 8, and 4j minus 2k equals minus 38. Because they both contain minus 2k, I subtract these two equations, one from the other, and that is going to give me 3j equals minus 30. Because I know where this is going, I'm going to rearrange equation 2 such that I know that 2k equals 4j plus 38. It just allows me to work out the j value and the k value nice and neatly, and I am showing all my working. The problem you have, and this can change each time, is you don't know where the marks are. So you need to be safer than not in making sure you're explaining all your steps. Okay, so I've got 3j equals minus 30. That means that j equals minus 10. I put my minus 10 into the equation above. So 4 times minus 10 plus 38, divide by 2, and that tells me that k is minus 1. And I've done the question. But of course I haven't, because I should always, always, always go back and reread the question for what it wants. So it actually wants the coordinates of the midpoint, not the values of j and k. So I'm going to remember that the coordinates of the midpoint are, as I worked out on the previous page, I'm going to put minus 10 into the x value, put minus 1 into the k value, and that is ultimately going to give me the solution of minus 2, 3. And that is question 1 done. If you got the answer, well done. It's a difficult question. A lot of people struggle on this question. A lot of people got half marks but couldn't do the whole question. So again, if you did the whole question, well done. Either way, please do like the video, leave a comment if you have anything you want to raise, and do subscribe to the channel, which means you can see the next question come through. See you again tomorrow.